Hi S3. This week's tasks will focus on rendering, that is adding colour to specific shapes, with a focus being on cylinders. We'll be looking at that. In addition, we will also be visiting obliques, in which you are to take the rendering sheet. That is this sheet here. You can see it's got all these different shapes. Some of them look the same and similar. And you are to then go ahead and produce an oblique view. I will do a couple of obliques as an example on this, and then you are to go ahead and try yourself. Okay, so without further ado, any oblique sketching, or any sketching in fact, is a sharp pencil. So I'm ready, I'm raring to go. I am going to choose this back wheel, part number 4, as my example, given the fact it's circular and it gives you something to think about how you would present it. So I am going to start with a plus. Then I'm going to put a cross in the middle of that. It just helps me sketch my circle, and away I go. What I'm doing, I'm rotating the paper because it's so much easier to follow it round. Now, if you're right-handed, you would rotate your paper anti-clockwise. If you're left-handed, you would be rotating your paper clockwise, as it's all to do with the flow of your wrist. Okay, I'm happy with that as a circle. It's not quite a full circle. It would be better if I did it with a compass, but it gets the point across. It tells people that this is a circle. So I'm going to erase out these construction lines. And then, having erased them, I need to work out a center point. My center point's shifted slightly because of the shape of the circle that I've drawn. I need to draw the little circle in there. That would be the hole for the back wheel. And that would be this hole here. Now, to project this back, remember it's an oblique, so it's front viewed on, and everything gets projected at 45 degrees. So 45 degrees is roughly about this sort of angle. And all I do is I look at the thickness and I roughly, from that 45 degree line, sketch it back. Sketch it back. That's the bottom line. That's how much we would potentially see. And literally follow the line round. There's nothing too complex with it. It's a very simple shape. So I'm literally just gently following it round. Bring it around, just make it a little bit more curved into that 45 degree line. A little bit more curved into there. Now go over this a bit darker. The beautiful thing is about going over darker, you can hide any imperfections. Okay, the inside of this hole, you wouldn't actually see the other end of it, so it would literally be hollow. It's so small, so we don't have to worry about trying to put in another projection at the back. If there were, it would be something like that. You know, it'd be very, very small. So at this stage, because of the size and the thickness of that wall at the back, I'm not looking at the hole in there. Also, you don't know from the sketch, is this hole a blind hole, or is it a through hole? Is it a stopped hole? You don't know. Okay, unlike part 7. In part 7, you can actually see the faint line in there, so you know that that line goes all the way through. Okay, so I am complete my oblique. Just try to clean this up a bit because it doesn't quite look the way I expect it to. There we go. That's much better. That is my oblique taken care of. So I'm going to label this oblique part 4. This is so that I know in the future what I have drawn. Now, if you have access to a printer, you can print this sheet off. This sheet, again, you could lay them out individually. The only thing is, with it being A4, it might require a bit more precision, which means a very sharp pencil. Otherwise, refer to working on a sheet of standard A4 paper. You don't need to do one sheet per block. You could do multiple per block. I have an example in here somewhere. Here we go. This is my example. I did my oblique sketching from various different angles. Choose what's easiest for yourself. This was me challenging myself when I made mine up. Again, I'll include this as well on the file so that you're able to access it. You can use this as reference. I'm not trying to hide anything from anybody. But again, it's up to you. The 8 components that we're asking you are the chimney pipe and the axle, the back wheel, front wheel, square body, round body, and the train track. Once that is complete, you move on to your rendering task, adding a little bit of render, a little bit of light, color, and shade, for which I'm about to show you now. Hi there, we're back again to do a bit of rendering. Again, I'm going to focus on the back wheel. I'll look at zooming in, see if I can manage that a bit better. There we go, so you can see a bit clearer. Okay, so my little girl has obliged me by stealing all my good artistic pencils. She's left me with this one pencil called the Every Pony pencil. It doesn't matter about the type of pencil that you use. Somebody the other day commented in one of the teacher chats that they are so glad that they have got a good set of pencils, for which I replied back, it's not the pencil that makes the sketch, it's the person that's doing the sketch. So I'll use this Every Pony pencil and we'll get going. Now, my light source for this back wheel, keep it simple. I'm going to place it just up here under the word part 4. As that light shines down, where is it going to hit first? Well, it's going to hit about here first. And as it dissipates, it's going to become darker all the way around, particularly down at the bottom here, because it's almost underneath. So I'll sketch this out. So I'm going to start something underneath there. Make sure your surface is nice and flat, otherwise you'll have a nice imprint of whatever's underneath. Okay, so let's add that in. Where's my eraser? We'll use this eraser in the back of this pencil. I want to get rid of that dark line that I put in there. Okay, so here we go. It's really dark underneath. And slowly it fades out where it gets to the lightest point. It will fade out to almost nothing. Now, depending on what the surface is made of, if it's a shiny surface, if it were a shiny surface, it would literally have a reflection line on it. If you want to add a reflection line to it, use the eraser a simple band of white. Don't know how clear that is that you can see. Simple band of white right down the middle, and that creates your element there. One advantage of working with coloured pencils that aren't the greatest, they erase quite easily. Now, the light source is at the back here. Things are going to get much darker across the back end of it. It's going to be almost as dark as it is down at the bottom. I'm trying to keep my pencil strokes all going in the one direction. Otherwise, things are going to start to look very, almost patchy, if you like, and scribbly. It's one area that I sometimes struggle with myself. Okay, so that's the back end. I'm just going over it a few times just to darken it up a bit. And said the pencils that aren't always the best quality, they can be quite hard. They're not very waxy, so you might need to go over things a good few times to get that desired effect. Not to the point though that you're breaking the pencil by pushing down so hard. Remember, it's quality over quantity. Now that little hole in the middle is going to be quite dark in there. We know that, given the fact that it's, you know, the opposite side, no light's probably getting to it. So I'm going to go over that now with my pencil as well, just to give it a bit of darkness in there, but still working with the orange, so there's still some orange shining through. In terms of shadow, well, shadow is going to run out to the back. It's going to have a sort of almost the same sort of shape near enough, and with any shadow it's always darker. It's always going to be darker closest to it, then it might very well peter out. You can then take your thumb or finger or a razor and just smear it out, just to smudge it up just a little bit. And that is how I produce my render for my part. Now, different parts will obviously have different render. It's down to you how you progress. The final render that you've got is a render of the assembled toy. And for your reference, if ever we get back into the school, the toy you will be modeling on the computer. So that is something that does tie in quite well. So think about your color choice, think about how you progress it. You don't even need to use a color pencil to render. You could simply render with an ordinary grayscale pencil. Thank you for watching.